Welcome everybody to yet again another Getting to Know the Artist. I am Wiggles, your host, and today we're here with none other than Burnout Macgyver. Am I saying that right?
Oh yeah, you're on it.
Alright, it makes me think of Shooter McGavin for some reason off of Happy Gilmore. MacGyver, Burnout. I love it. Yeah. What's up, man? How's your day going? How's your weekend?
It's going good, man. How about yourself? I appreciate you having me on the show, man.
Absolutely. TZ, I seen you just come in here with the whoop whoop. I freaking love you. Insane liking. I love you. Whoop whoop. We got Impede in here. Whoop whoop. Dangus Magic. Whoop whoop. What's up, homies? Yes. Yeah, it's been a good day for me. I got my locks retightened up and twisted up and whatnot, and done a little bit of house cleaning and stuff like that. So we're just making the best of it. I love you too, Teasy. But this ain't about me. It's about you. And I, for once, don't know who is on the other side of this screen, y'all. His promoter reached out to me and said, "Hey, I got somebody that I think you should interview." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah?" And then they hit me with his links. They done all the footwork that I normally got to ask to do. They laid it all out. They said, bam, 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 here he is, yada, yada. This is his stuff. So I'm blind here getting to know him too. So this is going to be very interesting. If any of you in the chat know of him or know about him, show him some love. Maybe y'all can help me with some questions that maybe I don't even know or something like that. So yes, let's make the best of it. Anybody that catches this on the replay, please stick around, watch some of it, hit that like button. We appreciate you. The rerun crew really matters, just like the people in here right now during the live. Oh, yeah. Please hit the like button. It's a small gesture from you, but a big favor to me and the YouTube algorithm. It shoots it out. It gets more people in here, gets him some new crowd to put some eyes on him and whatnot. So absolutely. But without further ado, we're going to get to know you, my friend. And the first question I have for you is, what is your name, where was you born and raised, and where do you currently live now?
Burnout Macgyver, born and raised Detroit, live in Detroit.
Have you ever moved away from there at all?
Yeah, I've lived in a few different places. I lived on the West Coast for a brief time. I've lived in other places in Michigan, and I've lived a lot of places around the Metro Detroit area, kind of thing. Been kind of all around here, but definitely Detroit is home for sure.
Absolutely. And man, that's the home of the music, boy, the underground scene, in my opinion. Somebody said, nope, let's go, Burnout. I appreciate you coming through, Nope. I know you're here for him because I've never seen your name. So thank you. We love you over here. My dog's going to get his head broken. Sorry, y'all. Knocking down my dang ice on a tripod and everything, and my dog wants to somehow still manage to knock it off. Yeah, I'm gonna punch you in your head. Sorry, I don't abuse my animals. That just irritated me. Normally they stay away from me when I'm doing my streams. Okay, so we'll just jump right into the next question, and it's kind of like three-part. Are you a juggalo? If so, how long have you been a juggalo? Or if not, when did you first hear of ICP? We'll word it like that. And then thirdly, do you consider yourself a juggalo rapper if you do claim to be a juggalo? Some people see a box, some people don't see a box. So give us maybe a little, your thought on that.
No, I would not consider myself to be a juggalo rapper. I'm signed to a label called Mystic Plug Records that's out of Greece. And then I got my own Gang Faceless GF3 thing that some of my homies from around here in Detroit kind of run with me. But I love ICP, though. I've known... Shit, I got a CD in here from them somewhere. I have... what did I got? I got the Riddle Box, actually. I have that one.
Hell yeah.
So, I mean, I've known them. I've always been a fan of ICP. Like, I've known them for a long time. The clown, like, the way that I picked my mask really had kind of nothing to do with anything. I was on the West Coast. I was living there at the time. Found it. Thought it was super dope. People around me really liked it, too. So, it was like, didn't really have any plans. One of my homies actually convinced me the very first time to post in this mask. I was like, yo, that's it. Like, let's fucking run it. So we started running it, and then people made the Juggalo connection, obviously, like through the clown a lot of times. And
Right.
I mean, it's all love, man. I've just felt all love from the community. But I personally wouldn't consider Burnout Macgyver a Juggalo rapper or claim to have that title or anything like that. But I'm a fan of the music and a fan of the community for sure.
No, I respect honesty and out forthright. Like, you ain't got to be a juggalo to kick it. And I don't only interview juggalo artists. I'll interview anybody. If you got 3 songs and more on Spotify, YouTube, let's get it. Let's get people to know you. And I don't even dig country, but I'll interview some country singers. I don't care. So don't think you have to be a jug to be on Dreadlockjuggalo, obviously.
Right. Right.
But I do appreciate your honesty and not pretending to, be something that you're not.
Right,
or,
try to play into it a
crossing
little,
any lines. Yeah,
right.
Okay, well, that's
I'm
a
big
point.
fan of the music and all that, though, for sure, man, for sure. Big influence by them, just because I've been paying attention to the underground for so long, and they've been, around. So.
Right. So then, what is your music? What niche?
Most people would characterize it as funk, spelled Phonk. It's a subgenre of, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a lot of Memphis-based samples. It's influenced by dark trap, I would say, like the SoundCloud movement, Bones, Suicide Boys, Lil Peep, that type of stuff. That's usually the scene and crowd that I'm most closely associated with. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then I do a ton of, like, boom bap. I mean, I really go over everything because the producers at Mystic Plug are just... they're so crazy talented, so I have beats in, like, every style, fortunately, and I can kind of, do some boom bap, do some golden age, do, whatever. But my biggest songs and what I'm associated most with is funk, for sure. Okay, I like it. I like that you're just in your own lane compared to most of the people that I interviewed. And I'm sorry, real quick, TZ, are you talking to me? Saying you messaged me? Sorry, I got my train ticket, so you're going to get a train ran on you at the gathering. That's beautiful. How come you don't reply back to me, Ned and boy? I'm gonna block you. It's all good. I just wanted to call you out. What? Who? Florida? At any rate, Cheesy, you're not Ned and boy, right? I didn't think so. I'm Wiggles. I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know what you're going on about in the chat. Oh, Dankus is Ned and boy. I got you. All right, cool. So funk. What inspired you to start making music? What was that switch that said, I think I can do this and I want to really apply myself and start taking it serious? I mean, I've been doing it, I would say, for as long. My dad was super into music. Like, he didn't do anything with it necessarily, but he was super into it. So he was putting me on to, like, rock and roll and all that stuff. So I've had a guitar. I played guitar since I was very little, and then I was in metal bands and things like that. But I was always rapping on the side, just like in a notebook. I was always writing, good with words. So I always had kind of whatever verses on deck or whatever. And then I'm trying to think how old I was, probably about 16 or so. That was when inklings of, like, words kind of like, oh, there's a studio down here in Detroit, or there's a studio so-and-so that you can go to. And that was the first time it popped into my head, like, okay, the studio is not some faraway land with these major labels. Like, there's studios around here. So that was my first foray into, like, all right, let's see what it actually happens when we get behind a microphone. And it was a slow process to, like, releasing it, doing all the different stuff. But I've been making music for as long as I can remember, really. Okay, how old are you now? You said you started at about 16. What are you, about 33? I'm in my early 30s now, yeah. So I've been around the game. Okay. I've been in the game for about a decade, seriously, since my early 20s. And around the pandemic was when it really started to. That's when I, signed with Mystic Plug, met Slug and Santo, all these different producers, and that's kind of when it started to, like, get some visibility and figure out what to do and just how to make with this thing. Yeah. Okay, so then who do you look up to in the music industry? And that can be like mainstream or underground, dead or alive. Just give us a few people that you really, like, inspire or draw from. I mean, definitely. Or just appreciate. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, man. Suicide Boys have definitely done a ton, in my opinion, for the underground and taken it further to where I believe that they're the first label that is touring stadiums right now off underground artists. You know, they put a good amount. They probably put 5 or 6 on. So it's almost like an underground, not a festival, but you get a few of your favorite artists, but they're selling out like Little Caesars Arena and just arenas. Whereas with a name like the Suicide Boys being your name, you wouldn't necessarily think that you could even get to arenas with that. So that's definitely a big inspiration on like the business end of how all that was handled, to basically playing for 20 people at your buddy's house to now you're selling out arenas. And that's big inspiration.
Thousands
for me,
of, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Suicide Boys, I like them. I like their songs. I've never seen them live like myself. They did play Juggalo Weekend, and something about that performance was a little weak. But I don't hate them. Like on recording, their sound, they're there, and they got that like snappy, like it just make you want to go rave type music. So
I don't even listen to that music as much because I make so much of it myself. So like my quota is almost used up with like my own sounds with that. So when I listen to music, I listen to a lot of like heavy metal and stuff, and just kind of different genres to like put me in a different zone. And then when I get in the studio, I'm like excited to do this kind of music, and it's my own. So
right. I got you. That makes sense. I often ask artists, like, you know, and not always do I hit that question, because I have a whole book of questions and I pretty much skim through and pick the best ones, I think. But sometimes I will ask that, like, being an artist, what music do you listen to and enjoy? And do you see it as like a competition, or, you know, I'm giving this person plays? Well, I would hope not. You know what I'm saying? I hope you enjoy music, because music is great.
For sure. And there's a lot of like, there's so many people at my level, like at Burnout's level of the underground doing it, that I also listen to, that like I'm a fan of. Just there's so much talent out there and all the different subgenres. Like, yeah, it's crazy to me when people, I don't know, want to limit themselves or something. I'm pretty much open to anything you put in front of me. If it sounds good, let's roll.
Right. Okay. So you got even any other than Suicide Boys, or is that the one we're gonna cap off there?
No, let's see. Going back to that, I mean, honestly, what ICP did, I feel like they were one of the first kind of really visibly independent people that were like just setting up their own tours, pressing their own merch, doing their own CDs, things like that. And we don't have to do as much of that legwork, but back in their time, especially, like that was what it was. But go on. What were you saying?
No, I was gonna say, like, they even pretty much tapped the market on like the jerseys and stuff as merch. Like not a lot of artists was doing that. You know what I'm saying? Not like obviously sports players had, you know, sports jerseys, but as merch, it wasn't a thing so much. And then they throw a Hatchet Man and a big old number and a Hell's Pit on a jersey and $199. We bought it.
Exactly. So, no, they're just in terms of like I said,
entrepreneurship.
That's exactly taking it from something that you're doing as a hobby to making a living off it. I think they're like the shining example of being able to do that on your own terms. Like that to me is very important, and that's why my label's great, because we all just work, and there's no politics or anything interference like that, where it's like, I just if I want to put something out, we put it out. That's just, everyone trusts each other that they can know what's best for their own artistry and make those decisions type of thing. And I feel like when you're your own boss, when you've built up your own brand and you're your own boss, you can make those decisions. And that's what I feel like they've been afforded now. It's like just ripping
Absolutely. I got you. Speaking of, most of these questions are lined up to lead. You mentioned about like, you know, that you're comfortable knowing that you could just put something out, and your coworkers, if you will, for lack of better words, they're comfortable knowing that you're not just going to put out trash. They're not going to put out trash. It's going to go full circle. Everybody's helping each other. So with that said, are there any current projects in the works? What's next? Are you doing any tours? You about to drop any albums? Any new songs that recently came out that you want to put out there? Or any one-off shows you're about to do?
I just dropped a project on June 20th, which was kind of the first project that I did like an official rollout with like permanent posts and kind of like, did it that way. So very excited. That was the first solo project that I had dropped in almost 2 years, which was a while for me. I did some collab projects and have been doing hella singles, but this one was like, for me, album mode and project mode. To me, for the underground and hip hop, like I'll always be an album first guy. When I listen to people, I love to listen to the projects. So I was really excited to like do that. And it's been very well received. It's called No Club for Sinners. And it's with Moses on production, spelled MXSES. He's the producer of it. We did 8 tracks, and yeah, June 20th it came out. So I'm still just, now I'm doing the post rollout kind of thing, doing all the videos and pushing the songs, seeing kind of which singles to stick on and all that, and very excited about that. So he and I are actually working on another tape right now. We got like, if 8 songs came out, I probably recorded 40 songs or so for the project. So now we're doing like another 40, and then through that, hopefully we'll have maybe a part 2 or maybe just, something else, an original standalone concept. But very excited about that because that was our first project too, together as like a rapper producer duo. So very excited.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Y'all go look that up. Check it out. Give them some plays. What is your favorite song that you have written so far that means something to you for one reason or another?
That's a good question. I like that question a lot. Let me think for one second. It's between a couple that I'm thinking of.
I'm about to hit my cart real quick. So
there you go. Yeah, let me.
Once it heats up.
Oh yeah. Probably a song called "A Lot," and it's off of one of my projects called "The Specialist." And it's that artwork that's hanging in the back. My girl got that printed for me, actually. Yeah. My brother Slug did that artwork, put my head in there and all that. But it was like a beat that has a story behind it. And I won't tell that story because that's his story. But it was one of those beats that came to me storied, and it's very somber. The piano is super deep. And I just got a lot of shit off my chest with that verse. Like some stuff that I hadn't really talked about before necessarily. And it was special to me because it was the last song that I put on the project. And, I'm a small artist, so a lot of times the further songs, the first ones will get pushed, the algorithm will push 1 or 2 of them. And then unfortunately, as the project goes on, sometimes the plays are less. But
back.
Right, yeah. And I'm not even going to lie about that. It happens. But this was one where it was the last song of the project, and it was the most played, like by a margin. So I knew that people were feeling it, like I was getting messages about it, and that shit just meant a lot to me. So that song called "A Lot" also, ironically. That's definitely a favorite of mine. Burnout Macgyver and Slug. Slug made that beat. Spelled SLVD. That's how you spell his name. But yeah, love that joint, man. It's a very special track to me.
Okay, and not to confuse with, what's a song you're going to tell somebody if you're trying to get them hip to your music? So they don't know you. They don't know who you are, like me, pretty much. And they just came across you or your name or something, and they want to feel your music. You know what I'm saying? Check it out.
Yeah.
What's one song you're going to tell them to look up first that might even be a little more fast-paced or, trappy, rappy? Or...
Right. I mean, I probably would tell them "Three from Hell," a song that I am on. It's with Donnie's Dead and Maceface, 2 artists that I also work with. But it just happened to go mad viral. It's added to like, 10,000-15,000 TikTok videos. It's got like 4 or 5 million streams across platforms. So as much as it's a song that I didn't really think much about when it came out, because Donnie was the one that originally put it out. It just, people really, for whatever reason, connected with it. And there's some of the coolest edits ever on TikTok of people like lifting some heavy fucking weight or doing some crazy shit to that song. So as much as it didn't kind of connect with me, I guess, on the level of like a deep album cut, like "A Lot" or something, the way that people feel it, I know that right when I show that to them, they're like, "Oh, dude, that's fucking hard. That's hard."
Right.
So that's,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's, it's crudely mixed. It's an early song. We put it out in 2020, but it consistently, people connect with it. So it's one that I lead them to, and They're like said. Oh
There
yeah,
you
that's hard.
go.
Yep, I got you.
The Lake
So,
is a great song, one of my favorites.
ooh, I love that one, man. That's another deep cut. Whoever that's crazy that someone put the lake because that's a very deep cut. That's off
Okay.
a jazz rap project that I have called VP Confidential, produced by Slug, and it's like shit. It's like the second to last track, but I love that track. It's a very slow, like to me, it sounds like you're driving to the lake, or you just pulled up with your boombox and you got it, walking into the lake. So I appreciate the
Yeah,
fuck
I'm gonna
out
have
of
to
that.
check that out. That sounds like my vibe. Like I dig some reggae music on the side of horrorcore and all the crazy music and
Hell yeah.
melodies and whatnot. So
Well, that beat's
I'll
got
definitely have to
melodies,
check that out.
for days. That's Slug and Vap on that beat, and it's crazy produced, man. Like I said, I'm very fortunate. My producers are zoned in; they're in the zone.
Okay. So realistically, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your 5 year game
Hmm.
plan? You're on a label, you just said, or you at
Right.
least got a crew, a
It's
team, an LLC.
not too much different than this. Honestly, I hope to keep growing keep growing a little bit, and then definitely touring for sure. That's like I
Have
just
you
have a
done
lot.
any tours?
I have not under Burnout. I've toured a lot with because I produce a lot too. I make a lot of beats for other artists. So I've went on the road as myself under different aliases before, for a year or two I was rapping before kind of Burnout came. And then I still go on the road all the time with artists who I make beats for and produce for more on an informal
Yeah.
level type of thing. But as Burnout, no, I have not toured. And so that's definitely something where I want to check that off in the next 5 years, I would say, which is
There you go.
for me kind of the exact timeline that I would be looking at for something like that, because I feel like I'm just getting, well-rounded visibility off the back of some of these projects. And so, now, like I said, it's time to bundle that in and kind of see where else it can go.
I always like to think like, what if I get a hold of you guys, in fact, in 5 years from now, fearing we have 5 years, the way the world's going, but
Right.
At any rate, and just like ask that question, like look back at this and see what really changed or whatever. So I do
Definitely.
like asking that question. And most people that are taking music serious, they set goals, and some
Exactly.
goals are meant to not, you might not complete them when you thought or whatever, but it's just a goal to keep pushing you to drive and keep, not get lazy and
Exactly.
comfortable.
Yep. Never
So,
want to get complacent.
right, exactly. Okay, so if not music, then what? What do you think you would be doing if you was not
Hmm.
an artist today? Would it still be something related in the music industry, or would you just be working a 9 to 5? Do you have another hobby or thing that you're passionate or very equally talented at that most people don't know
I was
about?
involved. I was involved in film for a little while around here when the tax breaks were coming to Michigan about 5, 8 years ago or whatever. I was kind of bopping around in movies, but to be honest, I didn't see a way for myself in the movie industry because you need so much capital to do that. So it didn't really seem feasible on the level of music. But I definitely love anything to do with movies and visuals, and I work with a videographer who goes by the name of Orange Cap out of Grand Rapids. So every year I go to Grand Rapids and work with him on my music videos. Those are the ones that are on my YouTube. So I mean, ideally, if it wasn't music, I wanted it to be movies, but realistically, like I said, I don't know how well that would have worked out. I'm from Detroit. Probably would have been something with fucking cars, more or less. I mean,
Oh,
that's what 80% of the fucking jobs are realistically, around here.
automotive, yeah.
If music didn't work out, there's just a billion fucking plants where you can put something in a machine
Go,
and
yep, yep.
go and
Go
get paid,
punch in and yeah.
make a good living. So I'm fortunate that all this happened to kind of, pick up and work out and all this, but if not, that'd probably be what I would be doing, I'd imagine.
So then what about as a kid, man? Did you always want to be a singer, or maybe you wanted to be
I
a
wanted to be a guitarist.
paleontologist?
I wanted to be a guitarist for sure. That was, like I said, I was rapping the whole time. I'm writing raps as a kid, but guitar was the first thing in music that I took serious and saw myself obviously I can't play for shit, but I'm 8 years old. So I think I'm Eddie Van Halen, in the bedroom or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Turn the amp up to 10 and just kind of finger it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my first oh man, I'm just gonna be a famous guitarist, no sweat. And then
Right.
I wasn't nearly as musically inclined as I was with words, and I also found myself enjoying writing, prose and words and verses more. So it was like I slowly transitioned out of the guitar, but I still play too, like post videos on my TikTok. I still play all the time.
And now you sound halfway decent. It's not just random rips.
No, I can. If you go to my gram, when we get off this, I'll shoot you in the DM. I got a video of me over the pandemic. I picked it back up actually because I would just I'm sitting at home, and a lot of rapping to me is like I'm inspired by who I'm with. So when I say I go on the road with people and artists, that's just I want to live the journey of an artist. So then when I can't do that, I'm sitting at home. It's like I just felt like my writing was like I kind of couldn't do it for a little bit. I got like, what the fuck do I do? So I just started playing guitar another 5 hours a day or whatever. And it was just like riding a bike, my muscle memory with the scales and all that. It's like, I'll never forget how to do it. So it was a lot of fun to like get back into that. And I was going live on Instagram playing it and shit. And it was cool. But then honestly, once the world opened back up, my music with everything with the rap picked up, like I probably haven't played guitar in like 6 or 8 months maybe, but
dang it. Maybe you need to do it just for some nostalgia now.
Inspired by this conversation, I'm going to hop off this and pick up the axe.
All right, man.
Never regret picking up the axe.
Absolutely. I played drums when I was a kid, man. From 6th grade to freshman year, I was in band. And then my band instructor, I was struggling with an assignment, and I don't know why he done it to me. And I couldn't make this up, but he literally looked at me, and he threw the notes at me, and he said, go home and practice. Come back when you get better. We were in freaking practice, bro. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I just went, I was mad. I went home, I sold my drums for like $100. It's like a $300 drum set, but I sold it for $100. I went and got some bud and never looked back. And I was stupid for that. I shouldn't have let him get the best of me, but it probably wasn't in my forte.
That's terrible, man. I hate that. And there's so many people that try to do that to kids and deter them from getting into these types of things, like these. Man, fuck that guy. Whoever he is, wherever he is, we don't rock with you.
Right. So I never looked back. And I kind of kicked myself for allowing that. But the way my life kind of went, it probably wouldn't have happened anyhow. But it could have still been a passion. So the fact that you said you played and then let go, but then kind of played again, I think it's cool that you do remember it. Because, like, I know what a half note is and a full note, but I would almost have to probably reteach myself, like, reading music. It's one thing to just play off a sound and actually know how to read notes.
See, guitar is nice because they have tablature, so it's very. I'm sure drums have drum tabs a little bit too, but to this day, I don't know how to read music like classically from that standpoint. I do know the scales though, and I know the fretboard. Like I know that by heart, but like I said, there were these people that when I was playing were just so good musically that could literally pick up a fucking woodwind and just start. And I couldn't do that. But if you step me in a cipher and it's talk about rhyming, I could kind of do that. Yeah. So it's like, that's where kind of, I guess, the fork in the road. But I have rekindled my passion for the guitar in the last couple years, for sure.
Absolutely. Nope asked, Whoop Whoop, what's your favorite album or song you created? He did mention one earlier, but I don't know if you want to just say the same song or retouch on that question.
No, for the album, it would definitely be an album that I put out in 2020 called Marion Crane, which was my first album with Slug after I met him and signed to Mystic Plug Records. And it's, to this day, probably my most like visibly successful project that like every year people are celebrating the anniversary and messaging me about it and shit like that. And it was really like, I went from getting maybe 5,000 or 10,000 views or something to that album having like 600,000 or 700,000 views off the back of a few singles that did really, really well. I released Demons Taking Over Me with Baker You Maker. That got like 300,000. We did Trap House with Dead God. That got like 50, 60, whatever. And so that was my first kind of foray into a little bit wider visibility, I guess. And it just, looking back, it means so much because I remember hearing those beats for the first time. That's like why it means so much to me, because it was the first pack of beats that I was sent from Slug, who now we have like 6 hours of music out together. But you know, you never forget hearing that shit for the very first fucking time.
Yeah.
And it was like,
It's
up
just,
until then, producers were they weren't jerking me around, but nobody was fully down to like invest and collaborate yet. It was more like, I'll send you 1 or 2 beats, but you know, I want 50, 100 a pop. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But it wasn't anything where this motherfucker sent me, I swear to you, 400 beats on a drive of just absolute heat and was like, yo, dude, eat away. And I can remember playing these beats,
pick something, make something, we'll put it out.
Yeah,
that's
like I can
beautiful.
remember I can remember falling over hearing these beats. Like the intro on that album is the first beat from him that I ever pressed play on, and I literally remember my fuck being like, "Oh my god, dude, yes, let's fucking go!" Like,
right.
So that album, it really means a lot to me, really.
Absolutely, that's what's up. Thank you for answering. Have you heard of our family reunion called the Gathering of the Juggalos?
Yes, I have.
Okay, have you been to any or performed at any?
I have not, but an artist who I work with very closely, who goes by Percy Bones, he performed there last year.
Baby!
That's my brother.
I can't do it.
Brother. No, I can't either. I can't do that either.
I don't even know what the sound is.
No, I can't either. I won't even attempt it. But we've been working together for, years now. And he played. I was hoping to go last year and play a song that we have together called "Wake the Dead," which is, I think it's got like 30 or 40,000 on Spotify or something. It's done well for us. So we were hoping that I could come down and play it. It didn't work out. I had some things going on, but I seen his set. He fucking killed that shit. And he was touring with Ouija Mac at a point. He was rocking some shows with Ouija. And it was just crazy to see him on that stage. Like, holy shit, dude. Motherfucker's tearing it down. Like,
yeah, it was cool to meet him. I got a couple first-hand meetings with him, and now I follow him on everything. I had asked him to come on the show, actually. Speaking of Percy, Ouija won't come on my show. He don't do interviews no more. But Percy, and we've been in the talks about it or whatever. We just haven't been able to line up yet exactly on a date.
Tough with him. He's especially being overseas.
Yeah, he's a different. Exactly.
Whole different thing. Time gap and shit. I think we're on a similar time, so it's like pretty.
Okay,
are you on Eastern Standard? Where you're at?
Yeah.
Easy then. Yeah, it's easy, super easy. But yeah. Percy's the homie, man. He makes killer fucking music, man. Killer music.
Absolutely. Okay.
So
cool.
I have heard of it, and I hope to rock it one day, man. That'd be fucking sick.
Hey, maybe next year. That's what I mean. You're the first artist. Normally, I hunt down artists that play our gathering. I've met some of these people personally, and they're cool and humble. And I always love an artist that doesn't forget where they came from, no matter how big and famous they get or whatever. I think that's the best artist. So I think you're a lot of firsts for me, man, and it's really cool. I thank you. You said thank me. Thank you for coming on my stream as somebody completely different than the normal artists that I've interviewed, at least so far. So
hell yeah,
that's awesome. Okay, if you could collaborate with any artist, somebody that you have not yet collaborated with, and again, maybe give us like somebody you think is untouchable to you right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe somebody that was enough cheddar, and the fact that you're starting to get stature combined, like who would you work with? Right.
Up there, I'd love to work with Harry Fraud, who's a producer. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him. He produced a lot of stuff for like Currency. He did a lot of French Montana's old New York records. He just got a real like wavy sound that I've been listening to for a long time. And when I started to kind of make beats, he was one of those guys where, I'm sitting on YouTube just watching him in some dingy studio trying to, see what he does. I don't think that I'd be able to secure that. He's working with like Griselda, Currency, Wiz Khalifa, these guys. So, but that would be that'd be your fantasy, right? Yeah. That'd be a dream for me. Yeah, somebody more attainable.
Yeah, like the top of the underground. That you'd have to pitch up 5 bands or something, probably.
Right. You say Chedda, someone like Chedda, if you've ever heard of him, he's on G59 actually. He makes kind of similar stuff to the grimy dark trap underground stuff. I think that'd be attainable, but as you said, I'd have to pull some resources together to make that happen. But he's got a very unique sound, and Slug actually remixed a record for him. Slug and Atka, 2 producers, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So realistically, I'd have a line of communication to kind of, reach out when that time would come, or if I could make. Really, it's having the right song too. Having a song where I hear it and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker would kill this, or he would be perfect.
And then they gotta like it and want to get on it too. And
it's got to be mutual, right? It's got to be mutual. So if that lined up, I would love to do something with him. I think our sounds with the hard kind of darker shit, I think we would pull something.
I gotta ask just because I'm a nut writer for him. Would you do a song with Ouija? I heard you mention him earlier.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm not sure if him and Percy have a song together, or they might.
They got a couple, I think they're on.
I was going to say,
it might be more like a feature, because I swear Percy, Sagon Umo, and Ouija are all on a song together.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but I think. You know who Sagon Umo is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. So, all those, shit, dude, I'm hoping to get another one with Percy soon. We're talking about getting another one. But again, it's like, he's on tour. I'm going on the road with different artists. So it's hard because we don't always have access to, we're not traveling in multi-million-dollar walking studio buses. We're, in Sprinter vans and things like that. So when someone tells you they're going on the road, usually that means, all right, hit me up when you get back. And then, that's when we're locked in the studio and we'll talk about working. But I would love to get a record with Ouija Mac if, in the future, if that held, or again, it would have to be the right sound because his sound's a little different than mine. And as everyone's is, so you hear that one record and you're like, ooh, that would translate, or, translate across our genres and kind of.
Exactly. Well, that's like what Ouija just done with Sinister. That metal rock mixed with the trap, dude. That I think it's rocking. I like that new album.
Absolutely.
I think it's gonna be a good thing for both of them.
A few times I've done some promotional services. He used to offer some playlisting and things like that, and we've worked on that tip, and he's always been super humble and straightforward, good dude. I don't know him personally or anything, but I do love that project because I paid attention. I heard those first 2 singles that they dropped, which one of them I fucked with heavy. I'm trying to think of what it was
Dead
called.
to Me is fucking, it goes.
I think that
I literally when I seen the
second one or the first one.
Yeah, Dead to Me too. Yeah.
That was the second.
I think that was the second release.
That's when
they started.
Yeah. That one's crazy. Super crazy song. Yeah.
It goes so hard. It's like that in a mosh pit. You're rage, boy. And like when I seen the collaboration about to happen, like they announced that they were going to kind of work together. You start seeing little teasers and whatnot. I literally asked. I said, "Are we going to get to hear you scream, bro?" I think it's a good little mix. So absolutely, sometimes differences can actually merge together, and sometimes just 2 sounds also don't sound good.
Right. Sometimes you got a record and you'll send it to someone, and you'll get a tepid response or whatever, and it's nothing personal, but it just, hey, this one didn't hit. Okay, on to the next one. I've had that many times too, where I think kind of, oh, I'll send this record to someone, and then kind of just maybe not being like, oh, I can't do this, but the response when it's kind of like not hitting on that level. It's like, okay, we'll just keep working. It's been the same for me, where if someone sends me some, I say, I'm not really sure, I'll keep it in line, see if I can write to it type of thing. And like you said, some work and some don't. This is what it is.
Okay.
But that Ouija and Sinister worked though, for sure. That Ouija and Sinister worked. It
did. The Clash is great. I love it. I love it. And they just released the whole album onto all platforms too. I went to that tour. They came to Indianapolis.
Okay, yeah. So that was your city, was Indianapolis. Yes, because I've been seeing the recaps. I've been seeing the mosh pits going fucking insane, and just that's what's up.
Great shit. Okay, Have you ever met anyone famous to you? Now, we just talked about the gathering of the Juggalos, and with that being said, you get to meet artists like yourself. I've done VIP packages with like the clowns. I've met Ouija on well, I say countless like it was a lot, maybe like 7 different occasions, just kind of, whatever.
Yeah.
And I've met a handful of artists just walking around the gathering because they're hanging out with the homies in the crowd. Not all of them are staying up in their little, penthouse RVs or whatever, They actually come mingle with us poor folk and stuff. But at any rate, no, I like to answer this question myself with I met Polly Shore once outside of the music scene.
Massive.
So have you met anybody famous to you?
I was lucky enough to play some shows and do some touring and things before Burnout. This was a few years, probably right before I started Burnout, but it was Afro Man, if you know who he is. So
who ain't know Afro Man?
I was like, he's much older than me, obviously, but when I was super, super young, like, bro, this guy was. I mean, he was the guy. He was massively famous. He had Crazy Rap, Palmdale, Because I Got High. Basically that one album, but it was,
45.
Two Zigzag, baby. That's
gosh.
Yeah. So I when I got that call from a friend at the time that was like, yo, you want to rock? It was like a cannabis related thing. So it was right when kind of the legalization, everything was moving with the cannabis stuff more or less. And I was like, yeah, I'll come rock the show, do whatever. And he's like, yo, man, your co-bill or whatever, it's gonna be Afro Man. And yeah, I fell out. It's like, fuck yeah. So we got to meet him. We smoked with him a bunch of times. We met his DJ. They were all cool people. And that was one, like you said, he wasn't like after the show. He just literally came in the crowd with all the cannabis vendors.
He ain't scared. He ain't worried. He's
a big dude. Like I mean, I'm not.
And I'm sure he had some security there.
He had his crew. He had his family. His crew with him. But he was super nice. He had his Afro Man get up, big ass jacket on, fucking big ass hat on,
probably the glasses or something.
He had the glasses with the weed up, and I mean he ripped it too. Like borderline anything else, motherfucker ripped it. He played a great show. He was up there. They had some guitarists. They had live instruments and stuff like that. So. That was one where I kind of had to pinch myself. I'm like, damn, dude, you just fucking ripped the Afro Man. Like, let's go.
Real quick, not to even exaggerate too much, but when the first time I met Ouija VIP, I literally about froze, fainted. I had it typed in my phone what I was gonna say to him, just in case if I couldn't get it out, so I could just let him see it and laugh at me or whatever. And it started to happen because that's how Ouija relit a fire in my ass in the underground. I will forever and always love the clowns, and nobody is above them in my eyes and what they've created for us, a culture, a community, a fan base, and just everything about it is love and family. But it's no secret they haven't been putting out bangers really in the last 10 years. So, not that I fell out, but it wasn't, Ouija came in as that cocky little fireball, and he relit that. I'm like, who the fuck is this weird-ass dude? And why do I like him? And, he don't give a fuck that people don't like that he's weird and shit? And so, it was all built up. And then a few years of idolizing him, the first time I got to have that VIP... Oh, dude, I was sweating, since I've got to hug the man, and it's like, what up, homie?
Right,
that time, bro, sweaty palms.
You never forget the first. You never forget those first times.
Absolutely. So, and I couldn't imagine Afro Man, that he's, as you just said, growing up my whole life as a 90s child, Afro Man's been there. In the scene, on and off, and
he is. He was the weed guy, and then, like I said, when weed became more accepted, I think it was his perfect vehicle to kind of showcase, hey, I'm still out here, I'm still fucking Afro Man, I'm still ripping it.
Right.
And the thing about making a hit like that, Because I Got High, Crazy Rap, you could play those hits for 10, 20. I mean, you could play them. You don't need a long set playing 5 other songs, and play your hits. And I'll tell you what, everyone's singing Because I Got High. You're smoking at the vendor booth. You leave fucking happy. I'm telling you that much. Easily.
Successful show.
Exactly.
Right on, man. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color.
I ask the weirdest questions, man. I get all over the book on you.
No, I like it, man. I'm trying to give a deep answer.
My favorite color is red, if it helps at all. As a kid, I used to like blue, and I've been told my color palette, whatever the hell that means, is like yellow and brown. So I guess they look the best on you or something. But I just love red. Red's my shit.
I gotta go with blue.
Okay.
My girl has the most beautiful deep blue crazy eyes.
All
They're
right.
Green, blue. Well, I guess green too.
Kind of like a turquoise or hazel, bluish green.
I can't remember the name for it, but she has two colors to the eyes, like the inner color and the out. Yeah, it's very. Man, I'm drawing a blank on the name, so I'm just gonna go blue and green. I'm gonna put those right there. I'm gonna put them right there.
My homie Teasy said it's blue because you're a cop. You're a cop, Teasy. I wanted to be a cop just for a brief moment. For like, I don't know, from like the age of... All kids have that innocence. Quit holding it against me. I was like 7, Teasy. Jesus. What's your favorite domesticated animal and wild type animal?
Dog for sure. Domesticated. Dog guy, always been. Me and my girl have a dog. Wild animal, man, that's a tough. These are some tough ones right here. I'm gonna go with. I'm trying to think between a lion and a tiger. I love both. I love those. The Nat Geo with the jungle and the animals are running 50 miles an hour and shit. I'm just gonna go with the tiger because those motherfuckers are just beautiful when they're out there. Just beautiful.
Listen, we have the same answers, dogs, and specifically, I prefer my pit bulls, but we got a wolf husky mix, and I can have a heart for almost any dog, to be honest now.
Oh yeah, all day.
Cats, they got to be particular. Like, we own cats, but they have bobtails, and they act like dogs. Like, I can pat them on their side, rub their belly, wrestle around with them.
I fuck with cats.
Yeah. And then I'm with you, tigers, but white tigers specifically, because it's like not supposed to exist. Every 1 in 200 regular tigers can have an albino or like a white tiger or whatever, or they're like genetically, in a sense, like made or cross the make. And then so they're beautiful, and they'll lure you in, and then they'll kill you. They ain't playing around, dude. They'll take your face off. And that's what I like about tigers.
No games are played out there by tigers.
Right. So, yeah, I have to agree with that. Before I jump to the next page, and we're just at 48 minutes. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Before I jump to the next page of questions, if there's anybody in the chat that has any questions for this man, please put them in the chat. And while y'all are maybe adding a question in there, I'm going to ask you, being in the underground scene, how do you try to separate yourself from other artists?
It's a very good and tough question sometimes, because there's so many people doing so many, in my opinion, great things and creative things. But for me, personally, I try to separate myself with my pen, with my actual writing and the writing of my raps and, the lines kind of thing. I'm from Detroit, and battle rap is huge here. Even the Detroit radio rap has a lot of multi-syllabic, kind of lyrical stuff. So I do always try to push that as to the forefront of my project of I'm a rapper in the traditional sense of I like to write my raps, push the pen as far as I can, and people have definitely kind of told me that they notice a little bit of a difference with that, whereas some people are more maybe aesthetic focused, or they're doing screaming or different stuff. My stuff has always been hip hop focused in a more like golden age traditional sense, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I dig it. The fact that you're a funk. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
That separates you on its own because I don't think I know too many, at least in the Juggalo world. Let me say it like
Right.
that. Is
Yeah.
I don't. Is there a big following for what your
Not for
music is?
rappers. You know what? For funk, actually, the producers are much bigger than the rappers because a lot of the instrumentals that are heavy on the bass lend themselves well to edits and TikTok videos. And a lot of it is actually like housey tempo. So what I do, funk, it has the Memphis samples, but it still has those hip hop drums. You know, it's got those rap friendly drums, but a lot of funk
Right.
has more of boom, 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 boom. And then it'll have some crazy dark cowbells or something, but it's for like drifting. Yep, that's it. So, I mean, you got like, trying to think of some producers' names, like Cordell's a big one. Slug, I mean, in his own right, is a huge producer of funk. So, what I do as a rapper is definitely a smaller niche in the funk scene. I would say that the producers are undoubtedly, more known in my scene. So that, as you said, yeah, it separates me a little bit going over these beats where people will recognize the beats, but not necessarily be used to like a rapper kind of flowing in the pocket of it, more or less. So that's definitely something I hope people take away when they listen to my music.
All right. Somebody said, what's your favorite song you've made and what's your favorite collab song you did? That's a good one. I like that second part. He did tell us a song that meant he liked that was personal to him, but it might be different from your favorite song you made.
Yeah.
And then what's your favorite collab song? I need to add that to just my list of questions. That's a good
one. Yeah, because there's a lot of collaborations.
Right. I mean, you don't just start off being famous and just do you. Or, well, maybe, I mean, I guess you initially just create something and hope it hits home with somebody, but you're going to start doing features,
it doesn't work out that way
for
most people. You got to build it. But a favorite song that I made would probably be Enough, it's called, and it's just the conversation we were having. It's the first song off Marion Crane, the first beat I ever heard, and I just... I had the notebook in front of me and it fucking poured out type of thing. And then collab song, I got a few. Definitely the one I did with Percy called Wake the Dead. That one's one of my favorites for sure. And then I got a song called So Long with an artist named Convoke. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him. He's more of a singer. He hasn't been active in a little while. He's doing his thing. But this was at the time I paid for the feature. So he's still, he's much bigger than I am. But at the time, I think I paid like, I don't know, $200-300. And it was when I was pushing my own beats a lot more. Before I met all the producers, I was kind of just, pushing myself rapping on my own beats because I didn't have any, even if they weren't necessarily up to par. I'm still pushing them. But sent Convoke the money, and I had bought in a lot of features at that time, and they had never went well to a point where I was fucking bugging these people to give them back to me. I'd send the money. They'd be like, oh, and then maybe I never got it back. This is maybe 2017, 18, 19, that era. I swear to God, I sent Convoke the money. He hits me back in 10 minutes. Hey, man, I don't know if I can go over this beat, but I got a friend of mine that made a fire beat. Would it be cool if I do a hook and send it back? You can have the beat. I'm like, fuck yeah. Within an hour, man, within an hour, this guy sends me, an absolute fire hook verse with a beat all complete. So I was still working at the time. I was working somewhere. I remember writing it like at work because I was so fucking pumped that I got this feature back. I'm like, can't wait, go home, record it.
That's so much respect. We were just talking about that, how sometimes it just don't work out. The sound ain't for the artist, and he could have easily just been like, here's your money or whatever, here's your stuff, I'm sorry, I can't do it. That man said, let me still get with you, here's something I can work on. That's beautiful. I ain't never heard that before.
For real. No, this was like, and like I said, I had worked with people bigger than me, paying for features, beats, different things, and they always treated me like a fucking parasite, more or less, and it irked me. And this was the first time where, dude, it was beautiful. So I got it back. I recorded it, put it out. It's a little bit of a deeper song. It's, he's singing. It's so long. I'm going kind of about love lost thing. And for whatever reason, it really connected. Like right away, there was a Genius page made about it. And someone did like there's some write-ups on it, like long, essays and different things on the internet of people connecting with it. And as a feature, like a collab feature, whatever you want to call it. It was just like, that was the ideal situation for me. And like,
absolutely,
like you said, he didn't really have to do that. He could have gave me some bullshit. He could have pushed me off or whatever, but he was like, no, you know, this guy wants to make a song. Let's make a fucking song. And so
right.
when people buy features from me, I always try to treat it that way of like, let's bring out the best of this artist and what his vision is with that feature. Whatever I could do to lend to that, like, I'm going to do that. So that was like
have you touched out to him since?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just maybe even conveyed like, hey, dude, you really like made me feel pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Just then, I appreciate that. Like,
sent him a DM. Dope, man. It's absolutely like, yo, man, appreciate this whole situation, and it, you know, it regardless of if it was a thing that you do all the, it meant a lot to me, you know.
Right. So absolutely.
Collab wise, that So Long with Convoke is one of my all time favorites for sure.
All right, fair enough. What type of music did your parents listen to, man? And what do they think of the music that you make?
They didn't listen to any of the music that I make. I will say that they like it though. Like they fuck with it. I didn't tell them for a little while until it got like, you know, official to a degree, and I was making a living off it and whatever. And then I kind of showed them everything that I had been working on, because they knew that I rapped. They knew that I made music. I had been for all these years, but this specific project, I was kind of like not nervous, but you know how it is with people looking in from different communities. They might not understand it, but to us, obviously, we do understand it. And thankfully, they fuck with it. Like some of the songs, they're like, you know, they don't like everything I make, and the aesthetics aren't, you know, their favorite, the horrorcore stuff. But
I feel it. My mom hates ICP. Well, I don't know if it hates the word, but she's a Christian, so it's definitely a whole different world. And she wasn't happy about me trying to listen to it. Like my little testimony or whatever. My cousin Lindsay came to live with us when I was 11. And he showed up with his hair spider braided. He had a great Malenko jersey on, and he pulled up in his little beater bumping Riddle Box. You know what I'm saying? That was my indoctrination to ICP. And me and my homie was like, bruh, he's weird. But we liked it. And then that was a wrap for us.
For some reason, you feel it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And for like in terms of my parents, my mom kind of she listens to everything, but my dad, he was a big influence on me for sure with rock and roll. He loved rock and different things like that. And one record that I can remember like him showing me was Running with the Devil by Van Halen.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember being young, being in his buddy's Jeep, and like, you know, looking back, they were young too. So I can appreciate more the moment or whatever when he was showing me. But I remember hearing that, like, you know, the train sound goes by and then that first riff comes on. I remember just being like, oh yeah, this is fucking cool. Whatever. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know how they're making these sounds out of a guitar, but this is fucking cool. But with rap, I had a friend's older brother who put me on to like all the rap. So he put me on to like, you know, ICP, 3-6 Mafia, No Limit at the time was big, like all this different
stuff. Esham, the godfather of the darkness, being in Detroit. You ever listened to any Esham?
Yeah, a little bit. I wasn't onto him when I was younger, but I've definitely listened to some Esham for sure.
I couldn't imagine living in Detroit, and that's where ICP was from. Like, for me, though, that's like my whole life. And really, again, it just goes back to like, I know that's... Even though they say like Tennessee or something is the music capital, I feel like Detroit, at least is the underground music.
It really is, man.
Capital.
I'm so fortunate to live here, realistically, because I got to come up with a whole like group of people that were like battle rapping, that were writing, shooting videos, that were, you know,
different styles of music and stuff all around you. Not like, just rap, not just
everything.
You know.
There's a lot of electronic music. I'm involved in the electronic scene. There's a ton of techno, tech house music that is, you know, Detroit's the birthplace of techno. So we have the Movement Festival every year. And I've been fortunate enough to play some of those stages, you know, spinning records with people that are up there. So being from Detroit
that's cool.
has not as Burnout, you know, like I said, I have kind of
Right.
my
Different
whole other
alias.
thing where I'm producing for people and, I mean, just wearing a million different hats because as an independent artist these days, that's all it is. You just do everything that traditionally a label would give you money, loan you money, and then they do it for you. Well, now you just build up your own capital, get your business going, whatever, and kind of do it yourself more or less. So there's a shitload of people in Detroit that are like on that same timing of like, let's get our own thing, our own foundation going, but then, kind of everyone just build the house, I guess, just working.
Right.
There's a lot of
Right.
spaces for artists, a lot of infrastructure for the underground in Detroit that I'm sure people don't get in every city.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Not even Indiana. There's only a couple real known spots for like concerts and venues or whatever, and that'd be
See,
Indianapolis, Carl's Tavern, and that's over by Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne, Indiana's got Piers,
I've been
and
to
then
Fort
like
Wayne. Yeah, me and Blaze was in Fort Wayne. My guy from that GF3 page, he was in Fort Wayne for a little bit, so he had an apartment down.
okay,
I was down there a little bit, but I didn't. I was only a few times. I didn't really get to know
yeah,
anything though. But
right, right. So yeah, Indiana is kind of hit and miss or whatever for I think like the music scene, or at least
yeah,
places for artists like y'all to come and like there needs to be more promoters and clubs or places people holding
for
events.
sure.
All right, man. Do you have any siblings and do they support your music at all? Or?
Yeah, I got siblings. They're very supportive. My whole family, like I said, is very supportive because it's just something that I've always been so passionate about. And you can tell when, someone's kind of fucking around with something or if they have a plan to, do it.
Actually, right.
That
Yeah,
was important
execute
was
it and
like,
really take it
was getting all
serious.
the ducks in the row, like getting the LLC, doing all these different things that like, it's kind of a pain in the fucking ass. You got to pay your dues. You got to do these 10-9, all this different shit. But that's what it takes. And going
That's
back to
part
what
of
we were
it. And
saying
you
in
got
the
to do that
very,
before you can even start reaping rewards yourself.
you
So, because it
have to,
makes you
man.
official and legal and yada
You have
yada.
to.
And,
And I look
yeah,
at some of those blueprints that are, going on in the underground, like, Psychopathic or Chapter 17 or whatever it may be, of just having your brand and being able to have like, okay, if I drop a project, do a little capsule of merch with it too. And how is that all going to tie together with what I ultimately want to do later this year? And kind of thinking
right.
more long-term type of thing.
Absolutely. Right on, man. I like to add when I ask that question, I don't expect, so as an artist or even me as a digital creator, if you will, I don't expect the people we know best or whatever most to always support us. And like, what I mean by that is your best friend does not have to listen to your music, and that should
So
be okay because they're
people
not there
gotta,
for that. They're your people, they're your
right.
day ones, your family, your friends. But let me step back and say when those people organically like fuck
Yep.
with what you're doing, show you support, it means tenfold. It's like Violent J has a line about I wouldn't trade 10 juggalos for 10,000 mainstream fans because the
Right.
support a juggalo gives to another juggalo is untapped. When you're really riding for somebody, you're riding for them, and that's that whole bit or whatever. But at the same time, I don't think they're obligated to. It's just nice if your family or
Right.
whatever. And I've had artists come up here and be like, "Listen, my family only supports me where it counts in that aspect. Like, so if they get
Right.
a shout out from ICP or Ouija or something, but
Yeah,
they're
then
just
yeah,
not bumping
right.
their music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They love
Right.
them all the same, yada yada. So yeah.
Right. I think the
Um.
internet changed all of that where you don't have to like rely on, there's this whole world out there with the internet where before it was like it was much more physical with like going to people friend passing out
Mm-hmm.
CDs, flyers, different things, whereas now the
They're your
internet has
bread and
just like
butter.
right, now that it's just broken this whole wall down of, visibility, I
Right.
guess that I
Yep.
I
Yep.
couldn't really get just in my city necessarily.
Right. Right. Okay, man. If you met the younger version of yourself, say 12, 13 years old, what would you tell yourself, if anything at all, and why? Or possibly even just like a saying of encouragement, or,
Yeah,
because,
just
they
keep
say,
going.
yeah.
just keep going, because especially with like music, it's like this, like it's not just an ascension, it's like forward 2 steps, back 5 type of thing, or whatever the saying is. There's always setbacks and different things, but what I realized is that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I came up with so many people that just, you could tell that they were so antsy to like pop off, whereas I was always, I mean, dude, I'm just having so much fun. I'm working with so many people. The journey is very enjoyable to me, and I always felt like those people that put a very stringent timeline of like, fuck, dude, if I don't, get it in a month or 2, if this song doesn't blow up, I quit. Like, I've never thought that way. It's just always been something that I wanted to do, and I stayed the course, and it just kind of gradually, started to make more and more sense as I put more time into it.
Do you or did you work a 9 to 5?
Oh yeah, I've held, yeah, definitely. I've had,
or like you're doing good enough now off your music.
Yes, now I am. Yeah, now I am. But I mean, even like, I don't think it was last summer, but the summer before that, I was working, as a dishwasher in a restaurant, making most of my money off music. But I mean, you know how it is. It's fucking expensive.
You got to invest in yourself sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm a small independent artist, underground artist. I'm never kind of, like I said, the next 5 years, I hope to keep increasing visibility and kind of pooling it all together to where these aren't worries. And I haven't really thought in a little while about a job, I guess. But if it comes, like, I'm never tripping of like, oh shit, if I got to go do what I have to go do, I'll always do that. But fortunately for the last 2 years, or since probably 2 summers ago, it's been, straight music, not straight burnout though, because like I said, I produce for a lot of people. I distribute music under different, accounts, platforms,
different entrepreneurs and stuff going on.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. So there's artists that, I have a label account for some of my distributors like DistroKid, TuneCore, if you've ever heard of those companies that put out music. So I have label accounts with that, and I'm able to put out, 20 to 50 different artists. So if I meet somebody and we're recording in my studio, say, might put the song out together or just do whatever for small percentages, or do something on the instrumentation of the beat that they bring in and then get a percentage that way where we're collaborating on it like that. So just really finding all these different areas and different ways to like basically monetize everything you're doing, because that's kind of how it's got to be, unfortunately, if we're going to make a living. Gotta make the money out of it. So
it's got to make sense, make it make sense, and it's got to support you, and you got to be sure in what you're doing and whatnot. So yeah, I absolutely get it. Before I ask you this next question, it's kind of backstepping you, because we talked about collabs and stuff. I just had a random question come in my head. So will you collaborate with anybody, or is it more like, assessment, not necessarily personal, but pretty much like they just gotta match your energy and be equal?
Yeah.
Like, because I have artists.
Yeah, it's I mean, generally, like if somebody hits me up to like get a verse or something, I charge, 50, 100, $200, whatever it is, depending on how many bars, if it's a hook, whatever it is. But if there's so many people where they're not necessarily on my same level of like streaming numbers or something, but I don't give a flying fuck about that. If I think you're dope and I also like you as a person, we can work and split royalties, because I mean, shit, going back from 3 from Hell, which is my biggest song, I don't think Donnie even had any music out at that point, but I thought that he was an inventive promoter. He was doing a lot of things, and he was a good rapper too, sonically, but he was doing all this different, I guess, meme type of stuff, where I was just like, this is creative. And so he came to me with the concept, 3 from Hell. I think it was Jason, Freddie, and, one of the Mike Myers, like one of the other horror icons. So he was like, me, you, and Mace, this will be it. And it was like, we just kind of did the song. And, like I said, that wound up being my biggest song. And so that kind of taught me. And I had an inkling that it was dope. Like, I liked it. I liked Donnie. I liked Mace. So I was like, let's just fucking do the song. And so I kind of treat it that same way of, if I think somebody's dope or I like something about what you're doing, as long as we're able to split royalties like through our distributors and we can arrange that, that's it. But if someone hits me up, it's generally, they ask my price. And like I said, I try to take the convoke approach of like, if you're paying me $100 to get on your song, I want to make that the best damn song I can. And I always help promote, post on my story and show out for that. And,
I even noticed that like with me, and I say I don't care. I don't know how to word that without it just being a weird, like, oh, now you're being selfish or you don't care about me, or it ain't that. Please don't take it that way. What I'm saying is like, so I don't care if an artist does or doesn't promote this. Right. I'm going to promote my artist interviews. But I noticed, and I was going to say, I seen that with your team already. Like, you guys instantly started sharing that on your story, and that was beautiful, man. Like, I've done 130 of these artist interviews. Some people equal to your numbers, at least as far as like your following on Spotify. I think you have like 13,000 or something like that, give or take. And they didn't even like share out like y'all did or whatever. Right. So I just wanted to say that, as I appreciate that. And I'm not even an artist, but
right.
I think it just goes a long way for you to equally promote and do your part. And
and if somebody like buys a feature or pays me to do something, I don't like advertise that they've paid for it. I kind of like, try to bill it as a collaboration of like, hey, we made this song together. We made this song. Right. And I paid for a feature a long time ago. Can't remember. It was a guy on Twitter or something, but I posted the song and he posted it along with a tag of like, yo, if you want to buy a feature like this dude did or some shit like that. And I was just like, man, come on, like downplaying, you know what I mean? Like trying to keep yourself.
I hope he knows who you are now and feels like a jackass.
I think he does. I think he knows who I am. No, I don't even remember who it was. It was so long ago. But I just remember seeing that and be like, man, I would never make somebody feel that way. That like bro, money is fucking hard to earn. So they went out of their way to pay me for a feature. We're doing the song. Like, I'm going to go as hard as I can to make this song like go or whatever,
My buddy Swill's Edition snuck in out of nowhere. I love you, Swilly. He has a dumb podcast, as he calls it, and he'll have people come up and just shoot the shit, talk shit, make fun of you, call you a dumbass, but then also promote your shit too. He's a good person. Right on. But he said, did you ever watch the TV show The Macgyver?
No, completely unrelated. I'm completely unaware of that show. I was unaware of it. Completely
it's
unrelated.
Ironic he asked that because the next question asked about it. Yeah. So let me go ahead and take that notion to be able to ask you this question. The next question is, who or what inspired came up with your stage name?
Yeah, and it was actually
do you have it? Go ahead.
No, you could. What was the second part?
There's the second part is just do you have an identifiable logo that is you, no matter if it's on a shirt, on a hat, on a whatever? Right. Like I can look at it and be like, yeah, that's Burnout,
It's definitely the mask is my most like, because I actually released 2 or 3 projects before I put the mask on. I had it in my possession, but I just was releasing as like a faceless artist, I guess. I wasn't, I don't know if I wasn't ready or I didn't, like I said, my boy literally convinced me, was like, dude, this is the one, let's go. And he was instrumental in getting me to do that. But this became like, the amount of like fan art that I've gotten of people that have drawn the mask. And I've used a lot of it like as cover art of people that like, a lot of my artwork is just fan art that people that have drawn me. So I feel like that gave me like, it's very easy to draw, you do the little half circles, circle here, yellow dreads or whatever, very easy to draw. So I feel like the mask itself kind of became my logo, where on my Spotify, there's a big couple pictures of the mask and those were just fan arts, people that sent through. And I was just like, this is really fucking cool. Like, can I use these? And everyone's been super cool of being like, oh, hell yeah. Dude, whatever you want to use it for. So
I'm sure that's a mutual like engagement of excitement. I know when Ouija shares my post on his wall and stuff like that, I freaking geek out. And if you
hell yeah.
genuinely find appreciation from it, that's even got to make them feel even better. So no, that's a cool experience. I think all artists need to stay humble like that. And I don't care what you say, artists lose that. Rather, it's just the money, the drilling of tour and just I gotta like they lose their self or they're just annoyed and fed up. I don't know, man, but
Right. And
stay humble as
it's
long as you can.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So then your logo is literally your mask, which you said was a random purchase, right?
Yeah, I was living in like down near downtown LA at the time. I had signed a deal, something unrelated again to Burnout, but I had signed like a situation for some things that I was producing or whatever. So we were out there. And during that time, I was trying to like figure out kind of what my, I guess, solo, like where I wanted to go with it. And we were down,
Right.
and it was one of the street vendors, that had just a ton of different masks. And I'm like looking, and really the things that stood out most was the hair. Like I really
Mm,
wanted the hair to be able to like, swing my dreads and that. Like when I saw it with the hair, I bought this one and I bought two other ones that were more just didn't have hair. They were just like more black, solid mask type of thing. And I
right.
just, for whatever reason, it also was so identifiable, like very easy to, I thought, identify. And
Yeah.
I picked it up. And like I said, I didn't start rocking it right away. I kind of kept it and held on to it. And soon as I put it on, though, it was like instantaneously people responded well to it. So I was like, okay, yeah, now we're off to the races.
Okay, and before I ask this question that somebody asked, and then your name, then how did you come up with it?
Hold on one sec. My bad.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're good. Y'all
My
gotta
bad.
stop whining. No, you're good. My dog's us.
Yeah, so for the name, my boy Prick Squad that I work with, where were we? We were in like a basement studio, somewhere very late at night. And hold on one sec. Sorry, one sec.
You're all right, man. I get it. You've given us a great interview so far. I
No, I'm having
understand.
fun, man. I'm having fun talking to you. But so we were in the basement and we had nothing to smoke out of, and I had like a little bottle cap, and I was trying to put the top of a pen. I was trying to hollow the inside out so that I could put the pen through the bottle cap and use the bottle cap as a little bowl. Yes. And so I was doing that,
Ah!
and my boy goes, "Holy shit, chill out over there, Burnout Macgyver." And I swear to God, I instantly looked at him and I go, "Yo, dude, that's my rap name. That is a sick fucking name. Whatever the hell you just called out, like that is a sick fucking name."
Well,
And
yeah,
that
because
was
it's
it.
called MacGyver, and when you're making some kind of weird
Right, I
McSnorkel or
didn't.
whatever
Yep,
ball,
yep, yep. So
and you're being a burnout making the weirdest shit one, just
it
trying to
was
catch a
like
buzz.
just trying to. Man, we probably had a .6 left for the rest of the night, but you know how it goes. Like we're getting this in, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's how that came about.
I fucking love it. I love it. That's awesome. Nope said,
Fuck
what's your
yeah.
connection to Gold Draco? Because I know you and him have a lot of collabs.
Wow, this is the first person to ever ask about Gold Draco, actually.
Oh, Draco, my fault.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. That is actually me. That is my production alias that I produce. Yeah. It's actually the first person to ask that outright because it's lo-fi, much more boom bap, slower. It's very, very different from funk. I don't produce any funk or anything, but I figured, how was I going to do this? Step outside of the sound that I have established, because for me, I like to I don't know how to put this necessarily, but for Burnout's main stuff, for when I'm a main artist dropping on Burnout Spotify, I like people to be very confident in the production that it's going to hold up to a certain standard of like literally just loudness. Like the way that Slug, Claymore, Moses, they produce well mastered, loud cinematic beats. And when I produce with Gold Draco, much lower volume. It's I guess more akin to like some Wu-Tang type of stuff with a little bit of a slower tempo, more old school like that. And so I figured, how the fuck do I put this stuff out? And then I just started this Gold Draco alias as a producer. And that also gave me an opportunity to work with Sylvester Blaze, who runs the GF3 page, because he's a super dope rapper in his own right. So me and him have 3 projects together that I produced in full as Gold Draco with him rapping. And then I also feature myself as Burnout Macgyver rapping, but just not as the main artist. So it's Gold Draco's Sonics on the beat, and then Burnout comes over and lends a verse or whatever. And recently this year is the first time in my career that I've released self-produced stuff on my main on Mystic Plug Records. So I did No Frontin' with Stizzy Wendigo that I produced, and then I just released Blue Cheese, which I produced. So those are my first 2 songs that I thought the beats like translated and crossed over to what I'm doing in the funk and dark trap scene. So
okay, you're clever, man. You're very smart and with it. That's and you're good. I mean, I've listened to some of your music after your boy, or heck, you might have sent it. That was another one of your aliases. Who knows? But when I checked out your Spotify, bro, like I was quite shocked, and that's what I wasn't sure. I did not. People, if you're watching this now, if you're watching this on the replay, I didn't know if this dude was a juggalo or what or who he was. Like, this is my first blind interview that I didn't do the footwork. I didn't look this guy up. I didn't know him from just my general history of listening. He's obviously not a juggalo. He's aware of our culture and community and music, and maybe has ties within it. But hell, he lives in the home city of it. But you know, he doesn't claim it in a respectful way. And yeah, so it was all new to me, and I appreciate it. That was really cool. The first time I didn't have to do no work. But yeah, I check out your music, and obviously you're really talented. And I don't know if I've heard the Draco alias on a song. I don't know what songs I've listened to, which ones you actually.
Yeah, you probably haven't, because there's no correlation to my main page. So that's why the Gold Draco has a whole different set of related artists, like a whole different set of kind of his own thing going on with that more like traditional, like, you know, like the Alchemist type of thing, not on that level, obviously, but inspiration wise with that, you know, like old school MPC sampling, like that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the Draco project. And, you know, I've come a long way, I think, with my beat. So it's been real.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's your own thing. That's what makes you different. I've never had an artist come up here that has told me they do something similar. I mean, don't get it twisted. People can elevate and change their voice and sound different if you're an artist and you got the pipes. It's kind of comes with it. Not always. Some people just have one tone, their singing voice and their talking voice, and that's that. But some of you artists are just crazy talented and can just do one little tweak, and now you sound like a total different person, but you're still you. So, no, I applaud you for it. That's dope as hell.
Hell yeah.
If my old lady was in here, she's at work, sadly. I haven't seen her sneak in the chat. She would be saying, did you ask him? And what did you ask him means is, if you could be an animal or a fictional character, what would you be? Like dragons and stuff, like fiction like that or whatever.
Yeah.
My example, I would probably be a gargoyle. Why we ask this question is because she does digital art. When she ain't got commissions, she'll come back to my artist interviews for this question. And if she has the time, or, you know, she wants to, she might actually take this question and bring it to life and then tag you in it. She drew Ouija as a chibi, and he shared it all over his social medias. He was like taking a bath in blood, and like
That's
he dug
crazy.
it, she dug it.
Hell
Clockwork
yeah.
E, I don't know if you know who they are. They're the Silver Booth brothers, but they have this whole penis dragon thing, and she drew one for them or whatever, just for
Dope.
funsies or whatever.
Dope.
So she asked this question when she can,
I
and she's
think
in the
for me it
chat.
would I think it'd be like a jacked like mountain goat or something crazy, like a Prius, like a not a what do they call it, half man, a centaur, minotaur, not precisely that, but like something along that, like scaling crazy mountains with the muscles all on, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm in
Yeah.
when you say fantasy character. That's what I would envision for sure. Then just with the mask, like fucking just ripping it around the mountains or something. That'd be sick.
Right. Yeah.
If I could do that, I would love to do that. If I could ideally do that,
That'd be the shit. All right. Thank you for answering.
hell yeah.
Um, Dude, we're at my game questions. This is where it gets quicker and we wrap it up more or less. We're right
Cool.
on time frame for it.
Beautiful, man.
Anybody
Beautiful.
watching still to this moment, and I hope on the replay, we're gonna get all of this man's links. Any link he wants you to have, merch website, music platforms, social medias, whatever he wants y'all to have, it will be found in the top of the description of this video. So y'all can start giving him some plays and spins and, likes and just, supporting him or whatever. And at least just check him out. Check out a song or two. Me blindly, I could dig it, and I'm going to have to listen to more myself.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
but the game questions are just a simple assortment of either or. You're gonna pick one or the other of the choices I give you, or if for some reason you don't like either of them, you can submit an answer to fill in the blank of that spot or whatever. And then I have a random question. And I got 3 fill in the blank questions, and we'll pretty much get you out of here unless a million people show up and start asking questions.
Right.
But
No, this was
so
solid, man. Let's go.
yeah. All right. So we're gonna start with Twix or Reese's.
Reese's.
Sorry, I slurred there.
Definitely Reese's.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Oh, that's really fucking tough, man. I love summer, but I make a lot of good music in the winter when I'm real holed in. But I'm gonna go with summer. I gotta do it. Winters are brutal in Detroit. I gotta go with summertime in the D.
Right. Day or
do it.
night?
Night for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a morning person.
No.
And I'm
Night.
more of a night owl. I'll stay up until 3 a.m., but I don't want to be up at 6.
A lot of like the people that I work with are, night owls too. So start a session at 11, go all night. Like that's, I'm right there. Right there.
Truck or car?
I like both, but I'm gonna say truck because they're more like I said, I go on the road, I travel, do a lot of things, so it's nice to be like we got 3 guys. We got 3 guys. Yeah. We can put the lid over the bed and just kind of throw all the gear in there. So for shit that we do like artists, it helps to have a truck for sure. Mics, amps, that shit ain't light. Like
right. And I'm not even an artist, but I move stuff, you know what I'm saying? Fish tanks, so you can always earn $1 with a truck hauling something. Always. People will be like, "Oh, but the gas money." Charge them gas money.
Exactly.
Or don't help.
Merch, merch boxes are bringing merch on tour is fucking massive. So if you got a car with a little trunk, I mean, you're literally sitting on top of the boxes. So truck, I'm going with truck for sure.
Absolutely. All right. You're taking your sweetheart out on a date. Are you going for a movie night or are you going roller skating?
We're going for a movie night. We're big movie buffs for sure.
Hell yeah. Pizza or pasta?
Pizza all day. Love pizza.
Oh, that was
I love pasta
quick.
too.
Most people struggle. They're like, ooh.
Oh no, not with me. No, I could eat. I love pasta too, but the pizza I could genuinely, I could eat pizza 2 meals a day every day, probably.
Yeah,
forever. 100%.
Right. All right, the next one's more for your fans. Which are you most active on, Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram. I don't have a Facebook. I tried to make one at one point, and they I don't know, maybe the weed content or whatever happened. I remember it didn't get approved or some shit. So Instagram is my most active, and then lately I've been active on TikTok too. So
I was about to say TikTok or X.
TikTok and X too. Yeah, I'm very active. All those three, I'm definitely active on all three of those for sure. And then YouTube, I'm trying to, get more consistent or whatever. I'm trying to get that popping.
So what do you and you don't have to say nothing you don't want. I'm not trying to ask personal stuff, but I assume like you whatever like a DistroKid or whatever service you use to put your music out on platforms, it just kind of you automatically load it there, but it doesn't put it on YouTube.
No, it does. They're all on YouTube, but it's kind of a separate thing. So it makes its own Burnout distribution channel. So I have one for DistroKid, I got one for TuneCore, one for Catapult, one for I'm on like, I have music for me and other artists on like I think 6 different distributors. So all the songs are on YouTube, but they're just on these small channels where one will have 50 subs, one will have 100 subs. My main has like 1.6K, something small like that. But definitely now that I figured out the TikToks and the short videos that I can kind of translate and make YouTube shorts out of that, I'm trying to get consistent where if I post a video that does well on my other socials, it's like, fucking remember, jet on YouTube real quick, and it's just cross-platforming. That's the fucking word right there that I was looking for, exactly. So
yes, sir.
Definitely looking to get more consistent on everything, as I'm sure everybody is with promoting themselves and posting music and shit.
Yeah. Pepsi products or Coke products?
Wow, that's tough. I like Coca-Cola better than Pepsi, but I like Pepsi products better. I like Mountain Dew. Can't remember what else they make. Sierra Mist.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. I fucking love Dr. So I'll go, I'll give it to Pepsi overall. But a nice Coca-Cola, though, A1.
Is okay.
It's okay with me.
If it has to be a Faygo, what are you drinking?
Red Pop or Rock and Rye. Or just Faygo Cola, honestly. I love a Faygo. I got a fridge full of Faygo Cola right now, honestly.
Yeah, you do. In fucking Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, you do, boy.
It's like people will kind of, people that aren't in Michigan, they get Faygos shipped and it's hard to get them. But
yeah, we get scarce and in between.
Faygo was just what my parents had. Like Faygo was just Red Pot. That was just what we had. So that's what we have at our dollar stores. They have 6-pack of Faygos. The gas stations all got the big 20 ounces, all the different flavors, cotton candy, fucking anything. So,
have you ever had a Faygo poured on you?
I have not. No, I have not.
Baptized in a bottle of Faygo.
I was gonna say, do you want to share anything about that experience? Because I've seen it plenty of times. I've seen a lot of Faygo being poured out.
It's the weirdest shit ever. Because outside of in the moment, I'm not gonna let anybody just dump soda on me. Why the hell would I?
Sticky as hell.
There's something about it launching off that stage, bro. And it's all you're already in the moment. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what's about. It's a culture. It's a community. It's a lifestyle. When you go, to me at least, and I'm sure anybody that's juggalo that's in this chat can at least concede my point. It might not be the same for you because you don't claim it, or not that you don't. I feel like maybe everybody can be a juggalo in a sense, like they relate. There's some areas that you could tie to, but it's not for everybody. But my point is, so like a series of things start to happen to a juggalo as we start approaching a con. I swear to God, bro, it's like out of body in a way. Like you start getting your normal excitement, like anybody would. I'm going to a concert. Yeah, that's exciting, but it's more than just a concert. Now I'm going to a juggalo concert. I'm going where there's other juggalos, my family, and it's almost like a frenzy of a sort. Your adrenaline just pumps a little more. It might skip a beat even, and then like so when you're in there and then you see those clowns, because like it's not all even juggalo bands. I'm gonna be quite okay with just trying to dump some Faygo. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something about the clowns and like the bigger, juggalo artists, Ouija, Twisted. Those guys, they're legendary to us. So it really is like an out of body spiritual thing that's going on with juggalos. Normies look at those videos and see us like, what the fuck? And we probably the same. We don't know. We ain't got that answer. That's Shangri-La. That's power, passion, and adrenaline all in a small area with other juggalos feeling the same way you do. And so it's baptized by Fago.
Can I ask you something about that? Do you know how that started? Like, because I don't. Do you know the history of like how they became associated with Fago and like how they started making it a centerpiece of the show or whatever?
I feel like it was almost like an accidental thing. I don't know the lore. I can't give you that. Actually, I know. I wish Swill was. I don't know if he's still in this chat. Swill, if you're in here, baby, that's your moment, bro. He's an older jug. He's older than me. He's in like his 50s or whatever. So it happened before my day of recognition, and I guess I don't know that story.
And I feel like it happened. I'm also younger, so by the time I figured out who ICP were, there had been juggalos around for 10, 15 years by the time they even came into my conscious, because I'm much younger. So that's why I swear
I recall
I'm interested,
Shaggy
for sure,
doing a skit talking about this very thing. Like, it literally was almost accidental in a sense of a shook and just Fago is something. It got shook, went to go get a drink, and it shot off. And juggalos went nuts. Yeah. They thought it was just part of it.
That's just the pop. Yeah, that's just what the pop was.
And obviously, Fago Detroit, that's its bread and butter. We're poor scrubs. That's what a lot of, even if you're not from Detroit, throughout the States, you could probably find a cheap Fago, and that's what you got if you were poor.
Dollar store has 6 packs of Fago for $1.25. You just can't fucking beat, dude. A case of Coca-Cola is like, they'll break the bank, run you $10. You go get
Fago, hands down, is the best soda for it. I implore, I don't know, I challenge you to go buy you 2 liter of Coke and shake it up and put your thumb in it and let go and watch it shoot. It's not. And then go get you any Fago, but primarily root beer or Moon Mist, baby.
I love Moon Mist.
Shake that motherfucker up and put it on your finger, and then let go of the bottle and watch it launch by itself. Something about Fago, bro. And a hot Fago, let it sit out all day, baby, and then do it. Oh, so man.
The actual logistics of the Fago lend itself better to...
Then a different, and I don't know if it's the lack of carbonation or more.
Fago, I think, is made with a different kind of sugar. It's made with sucralose instead of the traditional. Some of the other ones use the artificial, like, sugar, different artificial sugars. But I'm a pop junkie. Don't ask me how I know that, but that could have
you
something
challenge
to do with
me to know better. More about my culture and community and lore. Once I get off here, I'm Googling that now until I know that answer. So if anybody else asks me, I can say, yes, I know in fact back in 1987, because I know their first song or tour was 86, 87. And it happened like 6 months in. Yeah, I wasn't even born, bro.
Crazy,
but I do know that much.
That's crazy. So they've been like... What they've been able to do for that amount of time to like still have relevance with Gen Z, knowing who the fuck they are, and like connecting with the music is,
TikTok saved them.
It did.
With that. They even said it because people started using their songs because it was
In My Room went very viral, that In My Room song. And I remember someone I knew who never in a billion years would they be conscious of who ICP was using that song on one of their videos. I'm like, oh shit, this shit escaped containment. Like this has reached,
and that helped them
100%, man. And like I said, with my song 3 from Hell, it was all from TikTok. It wasn't from anything else. It was the people. So that people can say what they want about TikTok, man. But for me, that app has been, for a lot of us, that app has been huge, because if people feel the song and they want to keep adding it on their videos, they just keep adding it. And it's like, to see them
And that
connect with
boosts the analytics and algorithm and whatever.
and we know how that goes. And then all of a sudden stuff is funneling towards you where it's like, I remember seeing that in my room song and I'm going, holy shit, dude, they're reaching a whole different artist with like, or a whole different audience with these viral now TikTok moments kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So absolutely. And yeah, I don't know the exact date, time, and show. I really think what I Shaggy said something along those lines. Like I said, it was like an accidental thing, really. But then Juggalos loved it. So then from that point, they kept going. And quote me on it. There's more people in here out of nowhere. I see 8 people. If one of you are Swill, correct me if I'm wrong, man. When was the first Fago poppin' baptism, baby?
Because I love hearing the effect that it has on you and like what that means to you, because that I think is what
it's life.
What kind of I'm looking for in a way is to like make myself more a tangible part of people's lives. So like going to the show will do that, where like you'll have these memories where my songs are doing that right now for sure. But I think that's what touring and being on the road gives you, is it gives you a more tangible experience to like look back and be like, man, I could feel that show. I could taste that fucking Fago from that
exactly.
show. You know?
I can think right now, just I ain't got to close my eyes even, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's something too, like, so put it this way. Yeah, I don't know what's the biggest show you've done, but we have hundreds, sometimes thousands of juggalos.
Oh yeah.
Standing shoulder to shoulder, asshole to nuts. Like we're together and it's hot. You're sweating balls, but you don't want to lose your spot. You ain't breaking out of that crowd. You're there. Right. That's your spot. So when that Fago comes, it's actually kind of cool-ish
like
compared to your body temperature. So it's that also includes with it. And yeah, I don't know, something about that sweet Fago in the air, boy.
It's just perfect too. I feel like the way that it's designed, everything lends itself to like underground. The way it's bright colors, it's like alternative flavors that you don't get. Like it just, for whatever reason, when I did see that, I'm like, oh my God, dude, this makes total fucking sense. So it wouldn't surprise me where it was something where it's like fell into the lap of like, oh shit, this fucking works. This is connecting.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's all because I asked you about a Fago. I love it. See, that's what I love about our culture, our community. It's a great life. But the next either or question is pie or cake, man.
Cake, for sure. Big cake guy.
All right. Then you're forced. You got to pick. Either you have to make a 3-mile walk in the rain, or you got to make a 5-mile walk in the desert, provided water and a couple shade spots so you don't dehydrate to death.
This is a good one. I'm gonna take the rain. I gotta take the desert. I feel like man, you get hot out there. You start. I don't know, man. I gotta take the rain.
I've only had 3 artists ever pick the desert out of 130 some odd artists that I've interviewed, and it's because they're like from that area. They live in Arizona or Texas, or that's like their backyard. So they're like, yeah, whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, not us in Detroit, man. We got humid weather up here, so that desert that'll melt my fucking. I better have the mask or something. It'll melt my dreads off this thing. Like
right.
No, I'm taking that rain 10 times out of 10.
All right. Mexican food or Chinese?
Totally mood dependent. I'm going to say Mexican food more frequently, but I worked at a Chinese restaurant. It was a Thai Chinese restaurant, and man, they were making me some off menu, some crazy shit. That was some of the most fire stuff that I've ever had, but I just don't, I don't know as many things to order from there. I'll go Mexican overall, but man, if I'm stoned or something and I'm in the mood for some fucking Chinese, there's nothing. Them carry out things, bunch of leftovers for 3 days. Definitely can get
I'm buffeting it. I don't even know the name of nothing. I'm just like, ooh, this looks good.
Right.
This don't look too terrible. And obviously, there's some things that you can obviously tell, and they got the little name card. But I'm always like Like I call it rat on a stick. I don't know what that shit is, but I fuck with it, and I
Delicious.
even call it rat on a stick. You know, like
Delicious.
it ain't gonna bother me. I like the little like what are they, dumplings or pierogi or I don't know.
Dumplings, yeah,
Those are all
dumplings,
right
yeah.
little things.
Yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah. Love a
big old
dumpling.
bowl of mushrooms and some of their
Beautiful.
green beans. Something about their string green. I don't know.
Their
Yeah,
veggies and some of that teriyaki sauce, get that going. Yeah,
yeah.
I can fuck with
Good
that
stuff.
heavy.
But I'm with you. I'd rather we go to Mexican more regularly. I like or prefer Mexican. But since we're saying Mexican, is it tacos or burritos?
It's tacos for me, for sure. I'm a big taco
All
guy.
right.
And a lot of the restaurants that are like Metro Detroit has a big Mexican town in Southwest Detroit. There's a lot of authentic Mexican stuff, and like a
Ooh,
lot of them have Taco Tuesday deals. So that's like just known around here is like if it's Tuesday, you might as well go get some tacos. They're a fucking buck, and you can get a few Coronas with them. Like
yeah, that's
it
what
just
I'm
works out,
talking.
you know. So that's
Yeah,
can't beat a fucking Taco Tuesday, in my opinion.
absolutely. Man, that makes me hungry now. Uh,
Definitely, definitely.
surfing or skateboarding?
Skateboarding for sure. I skateboarded for a while when I was younger. I could still,
All right.
well, no, I can't still do anything, but at my peak, I could, kickflip a three step or something moderately, that kids can capture
Cool.
on a camera. But no, then there was people that were sizing up, 50 steps and they're doing fucking triple three. I'm like, no, I think it's not for
Nah,
me.
I couldn't even do what you could do. I could drop in a half pipe and then I could free skate. That's it. I couldn't
Yeah,
do no ollie or I couldn't do nothing.
we
I
could,
would rather rollerblade, to be
I got
honest.
decent. I got
Freestyle.
decent. We used to lock the decks and ollie them over. I could do like 5 decks or so. I don't know. I got decent, but then we're talking. There's that level of commitment where if you want to keep doing something, you got to fucking start going
Yeah,
big. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go into music. That seems more like my
yeah. I'm
speed
not
than
Tony Hawk.
right. No, and I wasn't that naturally good. Again, there was people that would hop on a board, had been skating long as me, it could do 10 times the tricks I could just off,
Right,
natural whatever plyometric skill they had. And it was like I
right,
felt
right.
that rapping, but not skating. So, but I will take skating over what was it, roller skating, or what was the other?
I said surfing.
Surfing. I've never even surfed, so it's got to be skating for sure.
Have you ever seen the ocean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I was out in LA and shit, I've
Oh
been to
yeah,
New
dope.
York too. I toured. We did some small tours in like Brooklyn, Far Rockaways in New York. So I've been to both oceans, but being in Detroit and shit, I mean, it's not
Right.
surf town here. Not surf
I've
city.
never I've never been to the coast, so I've never got to experience that one or
It's
whatever.
pretty cool.
I
I don't
think
know.
that's
The
part of
Great Lakes
why.
are just as tight as, in my opinion. Like we have the Great Lakes that are just, they're not surfing, but I mean, dude, they're fucking
No,
massive.
they're
So
big bodies of
yeah,
water.
huge.
Yeah. I went over to there's a town called Euclid, Ohio, and it's literally at the
I know where
top, like
Euclid
the
is.
tip. And
I know where Euclid is.
there's Lake Erie right
Yep.
there. I think it's Erie,
Yep.
and I got to see that, and
It's like an
that was
ocean. Yeah,
really
it's like an
cool.
ocean,
Yeah.
pretty much. I've seen oceans and I've seen Lake Erie and Lake Superior. There ain't much different. You look out and see water. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. This is the random question, if you will. You're given $5,000 cash money, but you have to pick one store and you have to spend it all immediately. This can be a local store to you or like a chain store like Walmart. I guess it could even be like an online known store or something if you wanted, but nonetheless, you have to spend it all there at that spot. What are you getting?
I'm going straight to Guitar Center and just getting as much, probably like a badass interface, like a $3,000-4,000 interface, and then taking $1,000 and I don't know, maybe getting a nice guitar or something. A lot of those are closed down now, the big Guitar Centers, but there's one that's still open, like kind of on the east side of the city, like one massive Guitar Center, and it's like a fucking candy land in there. I mean, they got just everything you could think, keyboards, MPCs, you could try all of it out. Shitload of guitars hooked up to amps and shit. So if I had 5 racks in my pocket, I would just go in there, hand it to someone and be like, show me wherever I need to go because we're gonna have some fucking
Right.
fun.
Let me get a nice little setup.
Yep. Get me set up and we're gonna have some fun.
Okay, fair enough. The next three is fill in the blank questions, and we'll get you out of here, man. Again, I
Beautiful.
appreciate your time. We've been live.
Yeah.
We're about to hit 2 hours, so I really do
Sweet.
appreciate you taking that time out of your day. I know you can't get that back.
Yeah,
so
no, I want to say too, I
appreciate
appreciate the fuck out of everyone that asked a question or just dropped a line to you, stopped in as a viewer, anything, man. It means a lot to me.
Absolutely. So the first fill in the blank goes as follows. My favorite vacation was blank.
First time that I went out to California, like the first time before I had like a situation or like knew anything, it just everything was fucking brand new. We're walking around Echo Park, LA, all this shit. And it was like we had like a tiny bit of business, but we had like 2 hours worth of business and we booked like 13 days. So it was like a vacation essentially. You know, we stayed, I think that was my first time staying in an Airbnb too. It was like, you know, relatively whatever. I had never done that before. So got a badass Airbnb downtown LA, and that was just fucking awesome, man. Going around the city,
lived it up.
Going to the Rainbow Room for the first time, like where Motley Crue and all those guys, like the hair metal stuff, like going there, seeing those rooms in the flesh, you know, just like stuff I had heard legends from like my old man or from TV, VH1, whatever, watching. But now,
right,
like,
and now
places,
there you are.
There I am, like we got these situations that are, you know, coming on, and it just was like really fucking exciting, man. We went all over like that part of California, like the greater LA area. We were like all over, which was awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds great. I would put mine probably up there with going to the Gathering last year. There's
where was the Gathering? Is it in the same place every
Thornville,
year?
Yeah, and well, not always. It's been in Indiana, it's been in Oklahoma, it's been in Illinois, but for the last handful of years, I think they have like an agreement, you know what I'm saying? So, or a contract, if you will, for like 7 years. And in fact, I think that's due to be rediscussed in the next couple years or something. But yeah, it's been at Thornville, Ohio for, I don't know, a handful of years now or whatever. But it's always
stayed in that general kind of Midwest like area kind of thing.
Right, yeah, because I mean the music, the industry. I mean, not to say it, they obviously do tours and stuff all over or whatever, but yeah, the Gathering has been like Midwest really. I don't know, Oklahoma's kind of
like that's kind of the South, I guess. That'd be like somewhere. Yeah. But Ohio seems like Ohio seems like a perfect fucking spot for it.
I think they've even done it in Indiana once. And they had it in Illinois for quite some time at Cave and Rock. And so definitely Illinois. And then they even hosted one there in Detroit. The very first one was an inside Gathering, which went horrible to my knowledge of what I've heard. It just it went to shit. And
I can't even imagine
what made them say we got to do this outside now.
I was gonna say because the scope of like the Juggalo fandom is so big, I couldn't imagine doing a whole festival around it and like being able to contain that
inside of an auditorium.
It wouldn't work. No, you need that outdoor festival vibe. Is like when we did our New York tour, our first one. That's what we did. Was there was a lot of like it was summer stuff, so it was just on the beach off the Atlantic, the Rockaways. Long Island, all that shit, and it would just like do that vibe of being outside and just you just feel so much more free, I guess. And I feel like that for a festival is like fucking perfect. It's just perfect.
And that's what it is because it's pure, unadulterated freedom for 4 days to be whoever you want to be.
Ask how many days
whatever you want to do. Yeah. And like nobody's judging you because they're doing whatever they want to do and being whoever they want to be. Not that they don't care about you, but they don't care about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no judgment or nothing. Or there's for 4 days. It's the best.
So when you go, you go all 4 days? Is that the general? Like people go all four usually?
Yeah, I mean, some people, which is weird. We call them outsiders or normies, more or less. And that's what ICP wants. They're helping somebody sticks around or whatever.
Right,
But like,
right.
they bring all these artists together, and they're hoping that their fans obviously might come check them out that wouldn't otherwise go to an ICP event. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
But they have their favorite artist here, and you can stop in for the day, even for a couple hours. Now, I feel like
Okay,
that's a waste of money.
I got you.
But,
Right.
You
But
know
I got
what
you.
I'm saying?
There's some people that come for a specific day to see a specific artist, more or less,
and then
what
they're
you're saying.
gone.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Juggalos don't do that. We're there
That's 4
the whole
days.
time.
Yep.
And then there's two difference. There's a separation of juggalos. There's the hotel-alos, Airbnb-os, and there's us that are camping. We're right there on the site getting dirty and living it up and soaking it in. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. Fuck yeah. I love
Absolutely. Okay, the next fill in the blank is the bicycle I had most as a kid was blank.
Trying to think what it was called. It was like a trick bike of some type. I'm blanking on the name. Totally blanking on the name. Like a Dino GT or something.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds about right too.
Yep. Something like that.
The bike I recall my mom getting me first was like a red Huffy Rocket. But the bike I had most...
Huffy, that was another one. Huffy. Schwinn was a bike brand. Had a bunch of bikes.
Next and Mongoose is the ones that I recall having the most.
That's what I was... Mongoose. I remember those. And those were like... Those were a little bit...
Those were all right.
Those were dope, but they were a little bit
They weren't Haros or... something of that level. Like, even a Dino to me was better than a Mongoose, I think. I think because Dino was like under a Haro, and then Mongoose was something you could get at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? But it was the top of the Walmart bike, or
of the more attainable bikes, I would say.
Yeah, right.
Because I
would always try to have mags and pegs on them.
Oh, I had to have the pegs. I remember a lot of older kids had the Mongoose, like, that were older than me, and we just thought the name was like fucking sweet, like Mongoose. It just was a cool. Because, Huffy and Schwinn, it's like those are your parents' bikes almost. But Mongoose was like, oh shit, Denton's older brother's got a fucking Mongoose with the pegs. And that thing was sweet.
He's cool. Yeah.
You know what it is?
Absolutely.
You know what it is?
Yeah. The last question, fill in the blank I have for you, buddy, is, and this is freshwater or saltwater, but, the best part about the beach is blank.
There's so many good. I love the beach. So many good aspects of the beach. But probably like feeling disconnected. Like for me, because I work with technology and I work in studios, and then when you leave the studios, you go to a venue and you got to set up more technology and it's sound checking. And the beach is like just a whole bunch of iPod speakers playing like Wiz Khalifa or something, mashing. And to me, I feel totally disconnected from like the grind or whatever. And it's just like, I'm looking out at the water, like just feel like I can take a few hours. Like, okay, you're not supposed to be working on music or thinking about work. You could kind of just like drift,
let go.
Yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You're probably one of the, I think maybe a couple have kind of said something similar. That's my answer, bro. I expect people to come up here, regardless of if they're in a relationship or not. You can still be a man, you know what I'm saying? And I expect them to come up here and be like, oh, women in bikinis, I expect that to be the golden answer, you know what I'm saying? But for me, then I come back at them, and that ain't my answer. My answer is almost what you said, but in just a different means of it's walking up to, it's being there in that moment. It's walking up to the water's edge, right? And you got your toes in the water maybe, and then half on the sand or whatever.
Yep.
And as you said, taking in, but realizing that there is something greater and bigger than you that you'll never beat. You'll never beat Mother Nature. I don't care how strong, tough man you think you are, how many guns you got in your waist belt. You'll
Don't
never
matter.
beat Mother Nature. You can drown in a teaspoon of water. You'll never beat a tornado,
Right.
face to face type bit. Like it's humbling, it's grounding. I get the same feeling going out in the woods, hiking trails, and that might be the inner hippie in me or whatever, a tree hugger,
No, I do a
what
lot
have
of
you, but
we're
you
out on the
can
trails a lot too.
you
I
can
fuck
really
with
just get grounded and connected to nature, and it will really open your senses and your third eye, if you will, and just really yeah, get grounded. It's about connecting nature and setting aside from all the stress and BS. Just nothing
exactly.
has to matter for that moment when you're there and you're taking that all in or whatever.
Exactly.
So
It's like just the
that's what.
perfect unwind. It's perfect.
Right, right. So yeah, this is where I normally let you pretty much give an exit statement or an outro. If there's anything that you had that you wanted to ask me, or anything that somehow didn't get said
No,
that
honestly,
you want to
man,
get said, give shout outs or anything
we
like
covered a
that.
lot, man. We covered a lot of
Yeah,
ground. I feel like, as I said, No Club for Sinners. My project just dropped on the 20th, so that's kind of it's what I'm focused on. So if you got time to check that out, the full project, there's kind of an arc to it a little bit too. It starts somewhere and you end off somewhere else. So
yeah,
very
yeah.
proud of that I just dropped. And but like I said, man, the questions were perfect. We already plugged that, and I feel like we really got into things here. So I appreciate it a lot,
Yeah,
man.
and I'm gonna get all of his links, like I said earlier, and they're gonna be found in the description of this video, so you'll be able to look him up, follow him if you wasn't sure who he was till you stumbled across this video. And man, I end my streams the same way, and that ain't gonna change. Hopefully, it doesn't bother you. But I like to say, tell somebody you love them, because you don't know who needs to hear that. You don't know what somebody's going through just by looking at them, and
For
it could
real.
be you that helps them get through a tough spot mentally or whatever. You might have been through what they're going through, and they're just overlooking something. When I was 19 and homeless, and I was sitting on a park bench, nobody thought I was homeless. They thought I was just some dirty, scrubby kid.
Right.
And nobody said, hey, I can't give you no money, but do you need somebody to talk to? Do you need
Right.
somebody to listen to you, to hear your problems? Nobody done that shit. So that's my way of trying to, bestow it out. You don't know what somebody's going through just by looking at them, and you could be the one to help them out. And if
And
for
a lot
whatever
of
reason
times
it's
that's all it takes is a small
eh,
gesture of kindness. That's all it
right,
takes.
and if it's weird for you to tell some grown person you love them or something like that, then extend my name. Say Wiggles loves you, and you can come hear him on Dreadlockjuggalo, and he'll tell you himself. But yeah, just take care of the ones you care about most. Obviously, it's fact. Nothing's promised or guaranteed,
Crazy,
and
man.
yeah,
Really
just
is.
be good. And dude, I had a great time. Thank you. You're always welcome back on my stream. Be sure once we disconnect, you
Definitely,
send me
man.
all of those links if I ain't already got them, and we'll get them in the description. And thanks again
Definitely,
for
man.
coming on my
I would
channel.
love to come back sometime and chop it up, man. I had a lot of fun here today.
Absolutely. Have a good day, man.
You too, my brother. It's great
And
to talk.
everybody in chat, welcome!
Let's go.